Pantheon AI presents OpenAI hits $1 billion month. Trump demands Fed resignation, crypto surges. Welcome to the PAI morning briefing, everyone. It's August 20th, 2025, and I'm John, here with my fantastic co-host, Sarah.
And I'm Sarah. It's great to be with you all this morning. We've got a lot to unpack today. Major market moves, fascinating trends, and some big stories that have everyone talking.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. Kicking things off with a quick market overview. It was a bit of a mixed bag. The S&P 500 closed down about 0.5% at 6370.
Right, and the Dow Jones saw a smaller dip, down just 0.17% to land near 44,844. But the Nasdaq, that one felt a bigger sting.
It really did. The Nasdaq composite dropped almost a full percent. Meanwhile, over in the crypto space, it's a completely different story. Bitcoin is up slightly. But look at Ethereum.
Wow. Ethereum jumped nearly 5% to about $4,276. It really feels like the stock and crypto markets are living in two different worlds right now, doesn't it?
It's a perfect example of that divergence we keep seeing. Are crypto investors just more optimistic? Or are they riding a different wave entirely? We'll definitely circle back to that. But first, let's talk about the trends driving these numbers.
Well, the main takeaway seems to be caution. That slight decline across the major indexes tells me investors are maybe taking a little money off the table. A bit of profit booking.
Exactly. It's like traders are just stepping off the horse for a quick breather. The market's been resilient, but there's definitely some hesitation. And that nearly 1% drop in the Nasdaq is particularly telling.
It hints that investors are reassessing earnings expectations in the tech space. It's like a chef sending out a new dish. Sometimes you love it, sometimes you're not so sure. You know?
That's a great analogy. And even in crypto, with Ethereum's big jump, there's this feeling of, well, I'd call it cautious optimism. It suggests they're betting on a longer-term trend that isn't rattled by daily jitters.
A nearly 5% jump is definitely a sign of something. Perhaps the start of a stronger altcoin season? Okay, let's pivot to the big headlines. We've got 10 major stories, but a few are so significant they're being repeated everywhere. First up, OpenAI.
And this is a huge one. OpenAI just logged its first billion-dollar times month. The growth is just explosive. They're on track to triple revenue to nearly $13 billion this year.
That's staggering, but here's the twist. The company's own CFO warned that they remain, and I'm quoting here, constantly under compute. In other words, they can't get enough computing power to meet the demand.
Which is an incredible problem to have, right? It just speaks volumes about the insane demand for AI. The big question for investors is, does that explosive revenue growth outweigh the challenge of scaling their infrastructure?
It's a fascinating question. Okay, next up, we're diving into politics. Former President Trump has called for federal Open Market Committee member Cook to resign.
And this isn't just political noise. Cook is one of only 12 voting members on the committee that sets our benchmark interest rates. With all the talk about mortgage fraud intensifying, this kind of pressure on the Fed could have real market implications.
Absolutely. It raises the question of how much volatility we might see in banking stocks and the mortgage markets. And what does it do to consumer confidence when our central bank is under such a political microscope?
Good point. Moving on, let's talk about SoftBank and Intel. SoftBank has taken a $2 billion stake in the chip maker, and the markets are buzzing.
They are. The hope is that SoftBank brings not just cash, but a strategic vision that could help Intel turn its fortunes around, especially with customer acquisition. It makes you wonder, is this a real turnaround story in the making?
Or just a savvy investor trying to find value where others see challenges? It definitely adds some excitement to the semiconductor space. And speaking of excitement, our fourth big story bridges tech and sports.
Yes, Microsoft and the NFL have extended their partnership. They're going to use AI, specifically Microsoft Copilot and Azure AI, to give teams real-time insights on game day. This could literally redefine coaching.
It's a perfect example of a traditional industry embracing digital transformation. It's not just about the game. It's about data, fan engagement, and rewriting the entire playbook of professional sports.
And as you mentioned earlier, John, these stories, OpenAI's compute crunch, the call for Cook's resignation, and the SoftBank Intel deal, they're being covered everywhere. That repetition itself is a signal of their importance.
Exactly. The OpenAI story isn't just about money. It's about an entire industry at an inflection point, questioning how to manage this incredible demand for resources. It could create a whole new market for companies that supply that compute power.
And with the Fed situation, the intensity shows that the market is watching very closely. When politics and monetary policy intersect this directly, it forces investors to rethink their strategies around that uncertainty.
Then you have SoftBank and Intel. It's a strategic play. SoftBank is known for these visionary, sometimes unpredictable moves. This isn't just an investment. It's a signal that we might see more of these partnerships between financial powerhouses and tech giants.
You know, the common thread through all of this is just change. Rapid, dizzying change. But with that comes tremendous opportunity for investors who are nimble and paying attention.
Well said. Let's dig into a few sectors, starting with tech. Despite the Nasdaq's dip, it's clear technology is still the engine. All these stories, OpenAI, Microsoft, Intel, they prove that innovation is driving the market.
Definitely. Now, we didn't have any huge energy headlines today, but it's a sector quietly being shaped by major long-term forces like the green transition. It's a space investors are watching for stability, wondering if energy stocks could become a safe haven.
And then there's finance, which is right in the middle of that political drama with the Fed. Banking stocks could face turbulence, and the talk of mortgage fraud is raising red flags. It feels like a political thriller, but with real money on the line.
It really does. And these trends have global ripples. The AI compute issue is a worldwide conversation. The political drama in the U.S. makes global investors reassess their risk. It's all interconnected.
So let's talk predictions. For tech, the OpenAI story suggests a boom for companies that can solve that compute power crunch. That's a space to watch.
And for the broader market, some experts see these slight dips not as setbacks, but as buying opportunities. A little sale today could be the entry point for future gains if the fundamentals are still strong.
It's all about perspective. And on the political front, the drama around the Fed is a reminder to always factor that uncertainty into your strategy. It's part of the modern investing puzzle.
You know, it makes me wonder, if AI is getting so smart, how long until one is giving us investment tips with the same confidence as a barber complimenting a new haircut? It's a funny thought, but it shows how deeply tech is integrating into our lives.
So true. Okay, let's wrap up with the key takeaways. We have mixed signals from the market, caution in stocks, optimism in crypto.
The big stories show us the dual nature of innovation, like OpenAI's massive revenue versus its infrastructure challenges. And we're reminded that politics can be a powerful and unpredictable market force.
From a sector view, tech is still the leader in innovation, energy is the long-term strategic play, and finance needs to brace for some politically induced volatility.
So the big question for our listeners is, how are you positioned? Are you riding the tech wave, or are you playing it safe while the political storms pass? It's a lot to think about.
It is. And if the market feels like a roller coaster right now, remember that the thrill of the ride is where the best stories and sometimes the best returns are found.
We really hope this conversation was valuable for you all today. The key is to stay informed, adaptable, and maybe just a little bit adventurous.
That's it, exactly. Thank you for joining us on the PAI Morning Briefing. We're here to be your information co-pilot, guiding you through it all.
Have a great day, everyone, and keep those questions coming. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again. Pantheon AI, your information co-pilot.
Because learning shouldn't feel like a full-time job. Take care and see you next time.